key for me when it comes to visualization and manifestation is you have to pair a thought and a feeling in order for it to work. I think people just think like, I'm going to think positive. You can't just look at a garden, think positive, and hope the weeds fall out. You have to pull the weeds out. Sitting there and then teaching my body emotionally what it felt like to be pregnant and to have that was what I truly believe got me pregnant in a time and a place where I was told like that's not going to happen. I think like no matter what you're looking to draw into your life, you have to be willing to practice what it's going to feel like before the thing happens. Like, what is it really truly going to feel like in your body to have whatever it is that you want? That's what got me to motherhood. That's what got me to where I am today. And like, that's what I continue to do in my life.
You're listening to PowerFemme Radio. This is a podcast where ladies come together and try to share their opinions and empower each other to be better women in society.
Did he just say try? You're listening to PowerFemme, where women don't try, we do.
Danielle, hi.
Hello.
I am like, I've been holding off like everything I could possibly say to you about why I love you and how I found you and how amazing I think you are, because we were trying to figure out the recording.
Yes.
But Danielle, you are someone who I found on Instagram, a couple of years ago, and you are the Mindful Blonde on Instagram. And so I'm sure a lot of the Power Femmes who are listening know who you are. They probably follow you. I share your content all of the time. And so the fact that you're
I love that.
on my podcast right now is like such a treat. You are a wellness lady, a mom, an entrepreneur, and like, to me, that is what really makes you a power femme. It makes you a very powerful, amazing, incredible woman. And so I know that you just went through your third pregnancy, and that was quite the experience. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Thank you for that beautiful intro. And I do have to say, the fact that you included mothers in being a power femme, that does it for me. Okay. First and foremost, because I think in the world of entrepreneurship and motherhood and business and even the social world, I feel like women are seen first and foremost for being entrepreneurs or starting businesses or, being in the corporate world, and they're not seen in the world of motherhood. So thank you for that. I appreciate that so much. And to answer your question, I'm doing really, really well considering.
Yeah.
Right now. So I'm great.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, for me, I'm like, I had a mom who did both. My mom was the mom that like picked me up at cheer practice, and she was in her business suit. You know what I mean? And so like, to me, I know that it's possible, and to see women like you doing it, and then also sharing your life so publicly, I'm so curious. I mean, let's let all the listeners kind of in on what happened. So you had your third daughter recently.
Third daughter, yes. Mm-hmm.
Girl mom.
Yes, I am a girl mom.
You live a very public life. You talk a lot about motherhood. You were pregnant very publicly, right? And
yes.
I imagine you have like a plan and the way you want things to go, but you're the mindful blonde. So like, what was that like, having to kind of share that publicly with what happened? Like, fill us in on everything that you can. I know you have a whole story that you can probably share. My listeners can go to your page and watch your birth or see your birth story, but
right.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I think that, and like, I know we use this word so openly now too, I feel like my life is very public, yes, but also with that being said, it also is very private. And I think that there's like this like fine dance that I have learned to play in the world of social, and that is, you can share all of your high highs. I do believe that, like, and you totally can, and it's, for me, I feel like it's really important to share that part. And then you can fine tune the low lows, because I don't think you don't owe anyone that. And for me, I feel like the lows in motherhood, especially, and in entrepreneurship, but they need to be scaled a little bit. And I feel like you need to be very mindful about what you are sharing, because I think there's a fine line between being very relatable and then also, protecting your family. So I just want to say that I think that people think that they know everything about you, and it still is such a small percentage. So for me, the story can be very long. Like pregnancy, we'll leave that maybe for a different question. But my pregnancy for the most part was like a really good experience. I actually love pregnancy. Maybe an unpopular opinion.
I have heard this. Like women are like, I can't wait to be pregnant again.
Oh my God, and I love it.
As somebody who's not a mom, I'm just
I truly love it.
Oh, I can't wait to like hopefully feel that way, because I haven't experienced it yet. So it's just kind of not scary, but it's unknown.
I think unknown is the right word, because I think it can be scary. Obviously, everything is scary when it's unknown. But I have had such a positive experience. So I feel like when we see all those negative experiences in pregnancy, I'm like, yes, but no, because it doesn't have to necessarily be your story. And like pregnancy, like anything, ebbs and flows. But for me, it was a great experience. And then the end came, and it comes quick, like 40 weeks. And I'm at 40 weeks thinking I'm going to have this baby like early, and I end up having her 41 and 3. So for those of you who've never had a baby, I was 13 days overdue, which after 40 weeks, you're like, hey,
that baby's cooked. Yeah.
She was very cooked. She was very big, and you're just done. You're done as a mom. So I've shared my whole birth story, which was pretty, standard stuff. I did have to get induced, which wasn't like ideal in my world, but she was 13 days over. She was really big, and they were like, Danielle, we need to get her out, or like things are going to get complicated. And then things did get complicated because she was born 9 pounds, 8 ounces, which is very big, especially for me. I'm not a very big human. I'm like 5'3" and just like smaller. So and I delivered her vaginally.
Wow.
So she came out, she was very big, and then she had something called shoulder dystocia. So what that meant was like one of her shoulders got stuck. So my doctor, my OB, they got her out. Her shoulders were actually fine. And then I got to hold her for the first hour, and we noticed that her breathing was off. So they take your baby from you, and you've like literally just given birth, and they're like, Danielle, there's something off with her breathing, so it's going to be fine. We're going to take her. They literally take her from the room, and your husband can come with. Like I said, I've just been in labor for, I don't know, close to 24 hours now. And I got an epidural, so I couldn't just up and leave and walk. And I'm like sitting in this room by myself, and I'm like, okay, my child is gone, my husband's gone, and they're like, we're gonna bring you a wheelchair. The wheelchair was taking too long, so I'm like, I'm getting up off this bed. You just find a way, right?
Mother energy. She's just like, I'm gonna go get my baby. Yeah,
literally mother energy. There's no other word. So I leave the room, and I'm like walking like past the front desk, and they're looking at me like all these nurses are like, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, my baby was just taken somewhere. I didn't even know at this point that she was going to the NICU. I that wasn't even a thought.
This episode is sponsored by Dolce Do, my favorite luxury skincare line and the secret behind my glow up. I've been using Dolce Do religiously for over a year, and the results are undeniable. My friends constantly ask what I've done to my skin because it has been a full transformation. If you struggle with dryness or early signs of aging like I did, then this is your sign. I am obsessed with the Dolce Blue makeup remover. It melts literally everything off, and it leaves your skin feeling baby soft. The glass skin pads give you an instant smooth, dewy glow, and the Be Still peptide serum is literally Botox in a bottle. Dolce Do is your answer to glass skin, deep hydration, and firm, radiant glow. No needles, no injections, just skincare that actually works. It's skincare that feels like self-love, and it delivers. PowerFemme listeners get 15% off your entire order with code PowerFemme at checkout. Go to dolcedo.com and use code PowerFemme and treat your skin the way it deserves. deserves to be treated. Code PowerFemme gets you 15% off of your full Dolce Do order.
So that is like newborn intensive care for anyone who doesn't know. And the one nurse is like, okay, I'll take you there. I think she had like sort of an understanding of what I was even referring to. And they take me to this room and my baby's in an incubator, and like incubators are so scary. If for anyone who's like never seen one, or if you have seen one, she's just this little tiny baby hooked up to all of these machines. She has all these wires, and then she has this like big mask over her nose. So she was I don't even know the correct word. I think that was like administered to her. She has this, it's called CPAP. So she's getting CPAP, which is basically helping her lungs clear out because during birth she had swallowed a lot of fluid. And apparently that can happen to larger babies. So here we are, and premature babies as well. But here we are in the NICU with this like big baby who has swallowed fluid, and like, obviously, I'll never get over that image when I first walked in and I saw that. And yeah, it hits you. It hits you hard.
Like those moments when you see somebody is like intubated or like they're in an incubator, it's like it can look very, very scary. But they say that it's actually like just really good. It's giving them oxygen. It's actually like they're very safe. So, but I understand the image of that. If you've never seen that before and you weren't expecting that, you didn't know that, you were like, what's going on with my baby?
Right. And I had a very different experience my first 2 times around. It's like, I'm not new at this, right? I have had 2 other babies, and my hospital experience was, again, such a lovely experience because you're in this like little bubble. It's just you, your baby, your husband for like 24 hours, and then they let you go. And things look very different, right? But like you said, she was in the absolute best care. She had all of the most important people that she needed, right? Which was an RT and the right doctor, the right nurses. And then, we were just sort of taken back. It was just a different experience. But if I learned anything from the NICU, anything at all, it was that I definitely believe that the whole experience, it lasted a week. It definitely happened for me. It didn't happen to me. And I say that because it gave me the most unbelievable perspective of women, mothers, families who go through this experience. And, it wasn't the whole, like I said, newborn bubble, cute little outfits and blankets and all this, what you see online, which is a lot of, this absolute bliss. What it gave me was a perspective that all journeys when it comes to motherhood and entering that journey of motherhood look very, very different. So I feel closer to mothers who have gotten to experience that. And I feel like if anything, I was able to give them just a little tiny validation or a voice to be seen and heard, because you really aren't seen and heard when all you're seeing online is this like beautiful image of what it means to step into motherhood,
Yes.
So I feel like it was good for me. And she's good now, so
okay, well, thank God she's good and you're good.
Yes.
And I just want to say that you're definitely one of the very few people who has this type of mindset, which is it didn't happen to me, it happened for me.
Right.
And I really believe that in life, we are given lessons and experiences that may not be the thing that we want, but maybe they're the thing that like our creator wants for us so that we can shine a light for other people. And you've done that so beautifully. And like, you've handled that so gracefully. It's incredible. This is your 3rd child. And I actually listened to a podcast episode that you did a couple years ago. It was like 2020. And you had just had your first daughter, and you were actually talking about, you were like, you were giving some advice about how you practice mindfulness with your daughter. You'll put a meditation on, and you were like, but talk to me in a few years, because I'm sure you have listeners who have 3 kids, and I don't know about that. Yeah. And I thought it was so funny, because I'm like, oh, well, I'm interviewing her after her 3rd child.
That is
and
funny.
So I think this resilient mindset, which when I think about resilience, Layla Hermosi, I don't know if you know who she is or follow Layla Hermosi. She talks about resilience being just your ability to return back to baseline, right? And I'm curious, like, how has this 3rd very impactful experience kind of changed you with that, and like tested your resilience? And like, what's it look like now practicing mindfulness after, you know, a traumatic, crazy, stressful experience like that?
So for me, first off, that's so funny that you heard. I don't even remember. I got to go back and listen to this podcast now, because I don't remember saying
the world was different too,
Okay,
by the way.
yes.
Like, it was the pandemic, you
Right.
know, it was like, it was a different world. It's actually kind of crazy to think, like, 5 years ago, just how different the world is now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, and for me, my world is very different because, well, yeah, I had just had my first, now I have 3.
Right.
Obviously, multiples look a little different, but I will say, in terms of what does like resilience look like for me, I think that when it's no longer just about you, I think that is what resilience is for me, because I know that I have to show up for myself first and foremost, but I have to show up for other people. So there's this level of like selfishness that is just exuded, and I feel like you have to have that, but then you also have to know and understand that above all, like, you have to take care of these children, right? And you have to show up for these children. Yeah. So it isn't a matter of like finding it or what is it. It's just like you have to show up for it. And that is the resilience piece for me. And I think a lot of the time it's like, I really just need to understand. And I think most moms need to understand that you have to love yourself enough to show up for yourself, because that's the only way you're going to show up for your children. So the mindfulness piece for me is like, yeah, it looks so different. You know, I'm not just like laying on the couch and playing a meditation, because at that time, my first daughter, she was like, I don't know, probably a month or 2. And that was an option, right? That's not an option anymore. I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, they're running around, you know, they're kicking things, they're doing crafts. The house looks like an absolute tornado. And then you have this other one who just lays there. You know, I would love to just sit in a meditation. So for me, it's like finding those like moments. Okay. Like, I think a lot of people, they'll call them like micro moments. You find the moments. And before it used to be like, I would wake up and I would meditate before anything else happened in the day.
That's me. So because
amazing.
I have no kids right now. And so like, I'm not kidding, Danielle, when I say like, I follow you because like you embody, like, it's an energy. Like, I'm just sitting here talking to you, I'm like, you're my girl. Like, you're into Joe Dispenza, you just went to Tony Robbins, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're my girl. And I'm like, I don't have kids yet, but like, I hope it looks like that. And so I'm just saying all of this because I know I'm in for a reality check. I know a lot of PowerFemmes listening to this are in for a reality check, and like, we're all very ambitious women who want to take care of ourselves. But like, I know for me, like, I definitely, all the conversations I'm having with my friends right now are about who's having a baby next, you know?
Okay,
and so you're amazing, but
no,
go on.
I appreciate that. But no, the embodiment piece is important, because I think like at the end of the day, you can like talk about doing all the things and then you can do all the things, but it's like, how are you living your day-to-day life? And like, how are you showing up while you're making breakfast, and how are you showing up while you're driving your kids to school, and how are you showing up when you're talking to your husband? You know, like, that is, I think that's where it comes through. You know, the meditation is really great. The breath work is great. Like the incantations or whatever, like for me, it's like journaling or journal speak. There's a lot of different things that I'm doing, but it's how you're showing up just in like the ordinary day-to-day things that are really gonna, I don't know, give you the life that I think that so many of us like want to live, or maybe so many of your listeners are, you know, wanting or seeking. But yeah, when it comes to motherhood, it's like it's not something that you're able to like plan for, or really like, I think even if you are a really type A mom and you really want to schedule things, that's fine, you can, and all the power to you, but like it just doesn't usually go as planned, right?
Yeah,
and
totally.
It depends on your children too. Like my children wake up the second I open my eyes. So for me, like doing something before they wake up at this point in time, it's just not an option. But that's actually the beautiful thing about motherhood, is like as soon as you think you've figured it out, it changes again. So you're like, great, I get to change again, and I get to re-alter this, and I get to relearn something new about myself, or learn, not relearn. You're always, and with motherhood, you don't actually have a choice. You have to evolve and grow. I think where you're at in your life right now, evolving and growing is a choice. But as a mother, I don't really think you're given that choice. And I think that if you don't choose to evolve and grow, I think that's where moms really find that they like quote unquote lose themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another like term that we can get into, because I feel like I don't actually think moms ever knew themselves.
Oh, I love that take.
Yeah, I when I hear that, I'm like, when people are like, oh, I lost myself, I'm like, did you ever know yourself? Did you ever truly know? Because the version of you that is here right now, of course you didn't know her. She's here now. You know, you're showing up for her now. You're learning about her right now. So I think that also kind of takes the pressure off for anyone listening who wants to be a mom and is reading and looking at all those Instagram reels and posts like, oh, you know, you're going to lose yourself in motherhood. Well, what if you never knew her? You know, because you're going to find such a different version. And I promise you too, like motherhood for me is like, it's like, this is what you are here. You're meant to do this, and you are meant to do so many other things as well. It's not to say that you can't do other things, but I promise you it is the absolute best thing that I've ever done, and it makes everything else that you do so much better. So
Yes, Danielle. No, it's amazing. Actually, I don't know if you saw this, but Rihanna said something about how she like saw a photo of herself before she'd had her first child, and now she's obviously a mother, I think of 2. Okay. And she's like, don't know her, don't know who that is. And that's so interesting, because I do think, you know, at least me specifically, and the friends that I've been talking to, and the clients that I've even spoken to, there's definitely this like level of unbecoming, and like you can sense it and you can feel it, but you kind of, I don't know if you ever experienced this. It's kind of like I dreamt of my life up until this point. Like I'm turning 32 in a week. Okay. And I don't know, I just never saw myself at 32. Like I thought that it was going to look different. And I'm very visual, ambitious, manifesting. I know you talk a lot about creating your life. And so I'm curious, like, what advice do you have for the women who had a vision for their life? And like, maybe it doesn't matter like whether you are so far gone or like you're on the brink of something that you think could happen. Like, what advice do you have for embracing this unknown and stepping into the creative role, and also like balancing that pull of being pulled into motherhood, which is something where you don't necessarily have that choice like you were talking about? It's like you are mom now.
Well, I think for me, I didn't realize I wanted to be a mom until it hit me, you know, until I was like, one day I was like, okay, actually, I do want to be, I always knew I wanted to be a mom, but it was never one of those things where I was like, I'm dreaming of this. This is like my number one dream in life is to be a mother. You know, that's not how it played out for me. But then it did hit me. I will say, like, I felt that, like, that urge to want to have children. And I think in that moment, I just didn't know what it was going to be like, right? Yeah. So there's no anticipating what it's going to be like. But I also felt like I was at a place in my life where I knew that I wanted it so bad. Like, and it just came so quick that I wanted it so bad. So it didn't actually matter how how it happened. And I actually had just gotten back from Dr. Joe Dispenza's week-long retreat.
Oh my
Have
God.
you been?
No, I have not been, but I just read his book. I swear it changed the direction of my life. His meditations and like for those who are listening, Dr. Joe Dispenza is a like how would you describe him? He's a doctor, obviously, but he's very into manifestation and
he was by trade a chiropractor, and then he got into a really bad accident, and then he basically got into the neuroscience of manifestation. So I feel like what he does best is he bridges spirituality and science. He bridges that gap and he brings it together really well to allow you to better understand like why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing it. Because if you understand the why, the how gets easier.
Yes.
You know? So for me, he like taught me how to meditate and how to manifest. Like he would be like the guru for me. He was the first guy. So I was told, like super long story short, I was told for 3-4 years that I would have a really hard time getting pregnant. I didn't have a period for 2 years and I had some like issues going on, and I was just told by practitioners like there's no way you're getting pregnant. Like it is either impossible or you're gonna struggle to get pregnant. So that's what I got into Joe for other health reasons, but it brought me to pregnancy. So I got back from his week-long advanced retreat, and like I kid you not, 2 weeks later my husband and I were pregnant. So
magic.
It was magic, but there are very particular moments and memories that I can recall where I was sitting in my meditation with him, like his meditations, and he wasn't physically there, but it was his meditations. And I remember visualizing what it would feel like to get pregnant and what that would feel like. So I think a key for me when it comes to visualization and manifestation is you have to pair a thought and a feeling in order for it to work. I think people just think like, I'm going to think positive. You can't just look at a garden, think positive, and hope the weeds fall out. You have to pull the weeds out, you know?
Yes.
So for me, I had to sit there with my body. Like you have to sit, and it's uncomfortable sometimes. Like it's uncomfortable. You don't want to sit there. We just don't want to do it. We resist it as humans, right? So sitting there and then teaching my body emotionally what it felt like to be pregnant and to have that was what I truly believe got me pregnant in a time and a place where I was told like that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I remember feeling what it felt like in my body, and I kid you not, when I had her and I gave birth, and those feelings were very similar. Very similar, even though I had never done it before, obviously. But I think like no matter what you're looking to draw into your life, if you have to be willing to practice what it's going to feel like before the thing happens. Like what is it really truly going to feel like in your body to have whatever it is that you want? That's what got me to motherhood. That's what got me to where I am today. And like that's what I continue to do in my life. And even now with 3 children, it's like, what are those moments of, and now I'm lucky because I have these moments of gratitude that I can literally try on anytime. I know what it's like to feel so grateful. But no matter where you are in your life, you've had a moment in your life where you were so grateful and you felt so like loved. You can practice that. It's like it should be something that you're practicing every single day. Honestly, I feel like that is like the ticket to appreciation, is the ticket to getting whatever you want in life.
Yes, it is. Every single night, my husband and I, we've done this since we started dating like 8 years ago. And every single night we tell each other 3 things that we are grateful for. And it's honestly like, it's so good because even on the worst days, like you force yourself, no matter what your circumstances are. And I mean, in 8 years, we've seen a lot together, right? And so like, no matter what it is, there's always something to be grateful for. And as you're talking about like seeing it in your mind and experiencing the feeling and like really cultivating that, it does make actually experiencing the thing that you want to manifest and bring in so much more like calm and normal. It's almost like when it happens, it's like, well, of course it was going to happen. Like I was worthy the whole time. And like, I knew that this was going to happen and I experienced this. It's kind of like I was a cheerleader for 10 years. And we would like do our routine on a practice floor before going out to actually compete. And it was the exact same floor. There's a reason why they have you do the exact same floor with the exact same springs. You go full out because in your mind, you're experiencing it and your body doesn't know if it's actually happening or not.
Right.
So it's crazy.
It's mental rehearsal.
Yes.
That's what you're doing as an athlete. Athletes, the most successful athletes, they mentally rehearse what, say, that goal is going to look like before it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
This episode is sponsored by Glossy, aka my favorite drinkable skincare ritual. Glossy is packed with collagen, hyaluronic acid, ceramides, and vitamin C to help smooth your skin, support your gut, boost hydration, and keep your glow game strong. It's not like other hydration powders that are basically salt and sugar in disguise. Glossy has probiotics, and it's literally skincare you can drink. No pills, no complicated routines, just glowing skin on the go. So you can spend less time stressing and more time showing up and chasing your dreams. I drink Glossy every morning before workouts, after flights, on long shoot days. It's a non-negotiable part of my PowerFemme routine. And because consistency is everything, I subscribe, so it's always stocked and always supporting my glow. Go to getglossy.com/PowerFemme and use code PowerFemme to get 15% off your first month subscription. Ready to finally have glowing skin? Subscribe to Glossy and show up as your most confident self. That's code PowerFemme for 15% off your first month. One more time for the girls in the back, use code PowerFemme at checkout. Glossy is a daily beauty supplement and is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any conditions.
Your husband's a hockey player, right?
So he was.
Okay.
He was a professional hockey player for, 12 years. And then he retired when our first daughter was born because of COVID, and there was some other things, right, that happened. But yeah, I feel like actually he's a huge part of why I love this work as well, because he's so involved in it, and he as an athlete, I feel like if anything, he's taught me that mental rehearsal piece. Yeah. So, but what you just said is mental rehearsal, but you can mentally rehearse anything. You don't have to be an athlete to do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is the perfect segue because I think one of the most important decisions you can make in your life is the partner that you marry. Yeah. And I think it's obvious that can affect your family as you grow. You've been with your partner since you were 18 years old. Is that right?
That's right.
What I'm curious to know is how have you handled unbecoming and becoming and growing, and maybe even just the expectations of what the gender roles should play in a marriage and in parenthood? How has that kind of evolved for you and your husband?
It's a loaded question. There's so much to say about this. First and foremost, I think with a relationship, above all, you both have to be open to evolving and growing. If you're not growing,
you're dying.
You're dying. So I think for me, I fell in love with his potential, to be honest with you, because it's not like I was marrying because I think a lot of time people are if you're looking for the partner and he has to be all of these things. He wasn't all of the things at that time. But
okay, I love that.
Yeah. I feel like I fell in love with the potential of you, and especially when you've been with someone for so long, he's not going to be everything that you want him to be in that moment, especially as such young people. We were young. But then when we did get married, I feel like obviously our values very much align. You're going to marry someone, I hopefully that aligns with your values. But now as he has evolved into a father. And like, yeah, those gender roles in the home, the way I see it now very clearly is that I actually just shared a reel on this. In the world of like business and finance, and even in the social world, I think leaders who are successful are really good at solving problems. And the thing that he is really good at as a father and as a husband is solving problems in the home. And that makes him a really good leader in the home. So those men who maybe aren't solving problems in the home and they're leaving the problem solving up to their wife or, you know, their partner, or just leaving it up to the mother, I think that's where you see some issues in the home. Because I think as women, I can't speak to all women, but I think we want men to lead. I do think that we want our men to lead. We can want to also lead as well, but there's something for me that there's this like a security about that. And he is solving problems in the home and not just in the workplace. And in turn, like, my daughters get to see a partnership. And I think they see both sides solving problems and both sides leading. It's not just like mom's doing all the things in the home, you know? So that's really helped. And there's no such thing as, I don't even know who came up with this. There's no such thing as like 50-50 in our home. It's not like I do 50 and he does 50. Some days he walks in and he's like, I don't got anything today. I'm done. I can do like 10%. And it's like, yeah, I'm stepping up. I got 90% today. And then there's some days where we are 50-50, you know, it's very equal. And then there's some days where he like sees me, and he sees me and he's like, you're not good today. Like, there's something off. And it's like, I only got 20% to give, so he can give the other 80. I think too, besides like all of the things that come into play, especially the mental load that comes to play for mothers for sure, but also just for parents, it's like meeting each other where you're at, really understanding like that is a partnership. And that in my mind is like 50-50, you know, you're not always going to be able to show up perfectly for each other, but when you can like really see each other and know like today, like I said, he's only got 10% or I only got 10%, that's what's really worked for us.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. I love that. I mean, it's like it's kind of nice to kind of be like, just see the way the world is now. I think it's just so different than the world that I grew up in, where it was like, okay, the man goes to work, the mom stays at home. I didn't have that experience. I had parents who both worked and who both took care of us, right? Mm-hmm. And so kind of just having this understanding that like, no, that's not necessarily your job in this friendship. Like, we're a partner. And, you know, I am all for women, like, being a boss, like, have your job, work your, like, do it. Like, I literally think that taking care of your husband or your partner or your house or your kids, like, if all you do is that, like, I don't think that would be fulfilling. And I'm not, I don't have children, but I am married. And like, I gotta say, like, when I don't have something to show up for, then I will feel purposeless. And so yes, power femme, but like also a power femme is a power femme when she has a power man with her. And like, my husband's the same way. He'll be like, did you meditate? Like, do you need to do a morning routine? You got to do your morning routine. Like, and so I say all of this because I really think that I want to like drive home the importance to our listeners of like, choose men who are willing to see you for who you are and accept you and love you. Like, I remember there was a point, and I don't know if you ever experienced this, but it was like when I first started dating my boyfriend, or my now husband, and I was working with my therapist, and he got me on the whole morning routine thing. And I was like, is he going to think it's weird if I wake up and like go step out and do like a 20-minute breath work in his living room? And like, I'm journaling and I'm like pumping my chest. And like, is that going to be weird? And like, I mean, maybe it was, but like, he was so about it. And I think he's seen how like I can show up as my best when I'm doing the things that are important. And just like you said, like, some days I can step up, and other days he's like, hey, I got this. And I think that that's amazing.
I think to your point too, something that I feel like will resonate with your listeners especially is, I think a lot of women think they want a high value man. Okay. And a high value man is like maybe someone who's really successful financially or just like, you know, not really, whatever, define your version of success. You know, they're successful financially. They take care of themselves. They physically, you know, they emotionally, psychologically, they, you know, they embody all of that, you know, and I think women think they want that. The thing about high value men is they have expectations for themselves and then they hold the same expectations for the ones that they love. And if you're not meeting those expectations, well, that man, he's going to notice that. I think what I'm trying to say here is like, whatever it is that you want in a man, you better be sure that you're being that as a woman. Exactly.
Yes.
Like, you want a well-read man? Okay, well, are you reading? You know, you want a physically fit man? Well, are you physically fit? And then, you know, or you want this like financially successful man? It's like, okay, so what do you know about that? You know, and it's not to say that you need to be the exact same, but it is to say like, he is going to have those expectations because he has those expectations for himself. And I feel like as women, especially the women who are probably listening here today, like we probably hold ourselves to a pretty high standard. And I think if you are looking for that partner, or maybe you have that partner, or maybe you don't, you know, I would really reevaluate that part of your life because especially when you bring children into the mix, I'm telling you, women.
It's so important.
It is so important. It is. Like, you think, you want him to show up for himself now and you want him to show up for you now. But when you have children, that just gets amplified. So, you better be sure.
I think everything you just said is actually incredible. And what comes to mind is like just not being somebody who like needs to be saved. Like there's a level to like, me feeling safe in that like if my partner comes and he's a problem solver and he's a leader and he's all those things, like great, I can turn my brain off. I love that. That's amazing. But like I'm, you know, you don't want to be somebody who like you're so dependent on that person to do those things. I think being what you want to attract is so important. And I do love what you said about falling in love with the potential of someone. Because the truth is, like, if you're living your life, like, he doesn't hit this box, and he doesn't hit this box, and he doesn't hit this box. The truth is, like, we're all works in progress. And so I had a similar experience, too. Like, I literally remember looking my husband in the eyes, and, like, he was asking me for my phone number for the first time. And I literally, in my brain, was doing what you just said. Like, I was like, I was like, his potential. Like, I can see the potential. And so, I love everything that you just said. And then, you know, I am curious. I feel like this is the perfect kind of segue into like entrepreneurship and like, you know, being the thing that you also want from your partner. And so if you are looking for a high value man or a high value partner, you yourself need to be a high value person, and you need to have purpose. You need to have something that you go toward. And so I'm so curious to know, like, how did the Mindful Blonde come about for you? And like, how did you turn this into a business? I saw you have cute mouth tape now and everything. I love mouth tape.
Thank you.
So I want to hear all about that.
Yeah. So basically it started a really long time ago where I was actually quitting a corporate job at the time and for my husband. My husband. So, interesting. Yeah, he was playing hockey he was in the US. I'm Canadian. I feel like most people think I'm American, but
I thought you were too. I was like, you're in Canada.
Everyone thinks that, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I'll take it. So I had quit the corporate job and I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, actually, is where he was at the time. And I was like, what am I going to do? The influencers weren't really a thing at the time. I feel like this was like, 12 years ago maybe. And it was like a thing, but influencers weren't a thing. So I was like, I'm just going to like start this account. I was like a yoga teacher. I was like, I'll just do yoga and like post pictures of me doing yoga. And he wasn't even my fiance. It was my boyfriend at that time. And he was like, what are you doing? Like, he's like, okay. And he definitely saw no potential.
Wow.
So,
LOL.
Just to be clear, he was like, I don't get it. You know, he just didn't get it. I don't even think he was on Instagram at the time. So fast forward a few years had gone by and like nothing had like really taken off at this time. It was like maybe I was sitting at like 10,000 followers. Not saying that's not a lot, but it wasn't like a job at this time. And I had any type of work I was doing was all for free. I worked years for free. And what I really found during that time is that I was riddled with anxiety because I was fully 100% leaning on him at this time in my life. And I had really like not figured out that this was going to be something of my own. I was just doing it to do it. And then I actually started, I would call them some like health issues. I started coming into some health issues, and really it was all around my need to control my environment and my need to control my circumstances. And he was playing hockey and I was just like the hockey girlfriend. I wasn't, there was nothing. I was like, what am I bringing to the table? You know, I felt like I was bringing nothing to the table. And so basically I took my platform and started to share those like aspects of my life, and like share that we were living overseas, sharing that I was having some health issues, some struggles. And what I found was that this whole entrepreneurship for me and this whole business for me was really about serving. And like the more I gave, the more I got. Oh. And in that sense, it was like I was giving my story and I was giving, you know, people maybe some relatability or maybe something that they could lean on at the time. And then in turn, what I was given was these work opportunities. And now today, like, I think for me, nothing has really changed in the overarching mission and value of like what my business is. And that is like, ultimately, like, I feel like I get to serve this like amazing community. And in return, I'm given so much more than I give. Yes. That's how I truly feel. And it's all been sharing my experience. And along the way, I've gotten to work with like really amazing, like-minded brands and people and connect with people like you. And that's like, for me, that's what social media is. And like, that is what the business has given me. And it's given me the most amazing flexibility when it comes to like motherhood, and managing 3 children, you know, a home and a business. And, you know, of course it definitely has changed and ebbed and flowed over the years. But like right now where I'm at, it's like I'm able to be 6 weeks postpartum, have 3 children, and still get to like work.
Yes,
it's like,
I know. I see
it
you
blows
doing
my mind.
It.
It blows my mind.
I see you doing it. And I do want to tell you, Danielle, like you were talking about how you get to give and you get to be of service. And I want to let you know that like your content does do that. Like your content absolutely does do that. Like you do a really good job of like knowing who your audience is and making sure that they feel seen. Like amazing job. And aren't you so glad that you did that thing 12 years ago? Like not knowing what the payoff was going to be, not knowing if anything would come of it. I'm sure family was probably like, what is she posting about now? Like a little bit, you know, and aren't you glad, right?
So glad. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I think it's actually such a beautiful thing that like you can be a mom and you can post online and you're collaborating with brands, but like you're home with your kids. And I think that's something that a lot of people are striving for now. Yeah. Like what advice do you have for somebody who's starting today? I know maybe it's not as easy to get like as big of a following right now as maybe it was back then, or maybe it is. Like, is there anything that you would want to tell somebody who's just like, okay, I'm done with my corporate thing. I want to share more and give more. Like, what advice would you give?
Well, I think that is the advice I would give, is that if you are coming from a place of this isn't about you.
Yes.
At the end of the day, like no one is going to want to watch something that is based around you. It is what are you going, it can be your story, but you're still giving something at the end of the day. So it's like, what are you, if you are fresh and starting out, like what are you able to give? Because I promise you, the more you give, the more you will get. And I think that's a really hard thing for people to understand, especially if you're starting out. You're like, I need to make money, you know, there's like that like whole financial aspect. And like when I tell you that I work for free for honestly close to 8 years, like I'm not kidding. Like I literally, back in the day, it was like, we'll send you a ring and you are going to give us all of these things. And I was like, okay, you know?
Right.
So first and foremost, like there's that, but I also feel like, and this is like, I mean, corny as it sounds, it's like, you have to be authentically you to the point where you need to understand that there's going to be people who are for you, and there's definitely going to be people who are going to be against you. But like at the end of the day, like there is no other you. Like, let's just be honest. There's no one who is going to do it like you if you do it authentically. Because everything that you see online, especially nowadays, is like nothing's original, really. Like what is super original? There's very, very minimal things that are original, but the way you say them and the way you share them and the way you put it out into the world is going to make it, and it's going to be for the people who need to see it.
Yes.
Like, I was at Tony Robbins actually, and I met this guy, and he wanted to be a coach, like really, really bad. And he's like, but who am I to be a coach? Like, who am I? He's like, there's people like Tony Robbins out here, and he's speaking to 17,000 people. And he's like, why would anyone want to come to me? And I'm like, the difference between someone say like Tony Robbins and someone who like this guy who's starting out is there's going to be one person who's going to need to hear him speak. And maybe it's him who brings that person to Tony Robbins, but it's still, he was needed. That person needed him. And that person is never going to forget this young man who was asking himself, like, why me? You know? And I guess I could have thought that same way back 12 years ago, like, who am I? And now I get messages all the time, like, thank you for doing XYZ, or thank you for bringing me to Joe Dispenza, or thank you for introducing me to that podcast, or thank you. So it's like, it's not to say we all need to be like Tony Robbins of the world, you know? It's like, if that's your goal, that's great. But like right now, you have the ability to impact one person. Every single person has influence. I don't care if you have one follower, you have 1 million followers. Like, you don't know the potential there, you know? And like when you affect one person, that one person affects a couple people. And then like, you know, there's just this natural effect that happens. But people get, I do think, so caught up in like the end goal, which is, maybe that's fine, but like, let's just focus on like what is in front of you and like starting now with what's right here and what's right available to you would be like my best advice.
Yeah, that is such good advice. And, you know, I think that the thing that I'm taking away from this is like, okay, like Danielle started 12 years ago. Tony Robbins started like 20, 30 years ago.
48 years he's been doing this.
48 years. Yeah. I went to the Tony Robbins event, UPW in New York years ago. I walked on the fire. Did you walk on the fire?
So the fire happened at 12 a.m. in the morning. It was a
16-hour day. Probably.
You guys, I had my, this again got me like shunned by a lot of people. I brought my, she was 6 weeks old and I didn't have an option. I had to bring her. And I was like, no excuses. I'm bringing her. She was totally safe. She had the earphones. Yeah. I was there with her the whole time. But during the walking on fire, it was like 12 a.m. in the morning and I had missed the priming part. So I was like, it's probably, if I burned my feet, it wouldn't be ideal for her. So I actually got to watch my husband do it though. And I'm like, very proud of you, honey, but I'm not doing it because we have our 6-week-old here. And I'm like, I can't risk burning my feet. But so many people did burn their feet. Yeah. And then people like my husband who didn't. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of glad that I didn't do that one. But anyways, you walked on fire. How was that?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, Shaun White was randomly right in front of me. And I'm a ginger. So like my husband always jokes that he's my doppelganger. So like, God, that's so funny. The whole priming thing really is so important. And it really does go back to the mental rehearsal that we were talking about earlier in the podcast. So if any of you have ever been to UPW or you've never been to UPW, highly recommend. I'm sure you feel like you feel amazing. And I think it's incredible that you did go 6 weeks postpartum, like incredible. But literally like Tony has you walking through like a massive arena with thousands of people and it's midnight and there's fire on the screen and they're chanting yes. And then you're like, and he has this thing too where you trick your mind and you say cool moss, like cool moss.
He still does that.
Oh my God. And so like you're supposed to visualize you're just walking on cool moss and like it's crazy, but like I walked across about 10 feet of fire. I mean, they're taking burning ash, like coals.
Yes,
and they're
literally.
just lining it up. And there's literally a video of Oprah doing it. She's like running across. And so I don't know, like I was definitely scared, but I did not burn my feet. I did not look down. And I think all of this is, if I were to like tie this to entrepreneurship or going after that big dream or starting your family, it's like, don't look down. Don't look at the fire. Don't look at like the pain. Really like keep your mind focused on the end working out for you. I don't know if you know who Jesse Itzler is. We obviously like are literally, we would be best friends, Danielle.
Yeah.
Jesse Itzler is Sarah Blakely's husband. I follow him on LinkedIn, and he posted something the other day just talking about how you have to believe the end of your story is going to work out for you. Yeah. That's it. It doesn't matter what the in-between looks like. It doesn't matter if you're about to walk across a fire. It doesn't matter if your baby is in the NICU. It doesn't matter what the journey like looks like, as long as you believe in the end and you hold the end in your mind. I mean, it does make the world of a difference. Absolutely. So
I love that. That's it. No, you got it.
Yeah.
That is it.
Okay, Danielle, it's been amazing getting to chat with you. Like, this was such a wholesome, beautiful conversation, Danielle. And like, I'm continually inspired by you. I'm so thankful that you came on the PowerFemme podcast. You are the epitome of a PowerFemme.
Thank you.
Yeah, for everybody who's listening, if you loved this episode, please share it with your friends, post it on your social media, leave us a comment, and then definitely go follow Danielle if you don't already. It's at The Mindful Blonde on Instagram and on TikTok.
Yes.
And yeah, just follow along for her amazing content. And thank you so much, Danielle. You're amazing.
Thank you. You are amazing. And honestly, what you are doing for women, first and foremost, is you are serving. Like, you are doing the most amount of service for women, and it's such an amazing thing, and you should be so proud of yourself. I feel like if there is anything, I feel like my younger self wished I was, right here in your seat, and I wish I would have found your podcast sooner. And I feel like my hope is for every woman and young girl to find your podcast and to listen to what you are sharing, because it's such a gift. Really, it is. And you are, like I said, doing the best work because you are serving. And I hope you feel that, and I hope you are giving, or since you are giving, I hope you are getting. Because you deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you. I receive.
Okay. Yes.
I just want to say that I am so proud of you. You have made such a good decision to invest this time in yourself today and listen to the PowerFemme podcast. And if there is one thing I know about you, it's this. You have big, incredible ideas. Maybe it's a book that you've been dreaming about. Maybe it's a business you want to start. Maybe it's a project that's been on your heart for years, and maybe it's been far longer than you'd like to admit, and you haven't taken any action because you don't know where to start. And that is why I am so excited to reintroduce my one-on-one life coaching sessions. Did you know that coaching is a lot like doing your hair? I want you to imagine that you're trying to put your hair in the perfect bun, but you don't have a mirror. You can feel your way through, you can kind of try to twist it into place, but you don't really know how it looks. Then you get a mirror, obviously, right? But now it's one of those handheld mirrors. And so you're trying to hold the mirror in one hand and then you're trying to fix your hair with the other. And it's awkward. It's almost impossible. But what if someone else held the mirror for you? Even better, what if they pointed out the flyaways that you couldn't see, or maybe there was an angle that you missed, maybe there were some tweaks that actually made it work? That is exactly what a life coach does. They hold the mirror for you. They help you see what you can't see on your own. One of my clients, Haley, is the perfect example. I remember one specific session where I pointed out a blind spot that she wasn't seeing, and that one conversation changed everything. She ended a relationship that should have ended long before she walked away from it, let's be honest. And she ended up leaving her small town home, which she had lived in her whole life, and moved to New York City. This was a dream that she had always had, but it wasn't something that she really thought was possible. And from there, just so much momentum happened for her. She built her career, she's thriving. And this past summer, she literally got married in Italy. Okay? I mean, hello, she's living her best life. That is the power of working with a life coach. Now, I can't guarantee that you're going to meet your soulmate after one session, but what I can tell you is that your life will start to open up for you in ways that you never could have even imagined. It's not about having the right 10 steps or a perfect game plan. Sometimes it's just about having one conversation that changes the trajectory of your life. Research from a recent study at UCLA found that people who write down their goals and share them with someone and have regular accountability check-ins are 42% more likely to achieve them than those who keep their goals to themselves. Listen, not all conversations are created equal, and not everyone should be trusted with your dreams and your heart's desires. That is exactly why you will love working with a life coach. Creating a life that you are so proud of is what you want, isn't it? You don't have to figure it all out on your own, and you don't have to wait until you feel ready. You just need the courage to invest in yourself and do it in a safe place where you can bring your ideas to life. Just imagine what could shift for you in the next 90 days, or even just in one powerful conversation. It's time for you to look in the mirror and finally see things that you haven't been able to see on your own. When you work alongside of a coach, you get the perspective that makes those blind spots really visible, so you can bring your vision to life without wasting years second guessing yourself. Because let's be honest, you don't want to build the life of your dreams and then realize from behind it looked like a messed up hairdo. Do you? I don't think so. So the link is in the show notes. It's time to see yourself clearly and take the next step towards creating a life you've always wanted.